Are you making sleep a priority? And if you're not, you need to be, because it is crucial to your fitness success. We're talking all things sleep today. So strap in, get ready for episode 195. Let's go.
The future of fitness.
How do you gain muscle mass?
Fitness is not complicated. It's simple when you break it down.
There's so much information out there.
No fads, no diets, just plain simple habits.
You're listening to the Bones to Bulk podcast.
Hey, welcome to today's episode. My name is Brian Parody, and I will be your host today. And if this is your first time tuning in, welcome to the show. So glad to have you here. For my return listeners, thank you for coming back. It means the world to me. It truly does. And I cannot believe we are a week, maybe just over a week away from the new year. Insane. Where has this year gone? Before we dive into today's episode, I wanted to mention, if you are not a part of the text community, please join it. Basically, it's a way for me to stay in contact with you, for me to give you just a little bit of kick in the pants from week to week. I send out a few texts. They could be fitness tips, it's some motivation stuff, and it's that simple. It comes right to your phone, and you can just text the word podcast to 706-222-7551, and that will get you into that messaging system so that I can communicate with you. You can ask me questions at that number if you have suggestions for the show, something you'd like to hear, maybe a future episode on, or if you just have a quick question I will feature on the podcast. So again, text the word podcast to 706-222-7551. All right, let's dive in. So we know that we need to sleep, right? But oftentimes we put sleep on the back burner. I know I have before, and I have suffered the negative consequences of that. Sleep is when our bodies repair themselves, not just physically, but mentally. Our minds reset. They get, I don't know if you've ever stayed awake for 24 hours plus, but you know that by the end of that time frame, your mind is usually not all there. It really isn't. I've worked as a paramedic. I've done a lot of crazy jobs in my past, and I've been up for very, very long shifts. And I can tell you that by the end of it, I don't even think I was thinking clearly, because it does something to you. You know, staying up that long does something to the brain. And it also does something physically. Like, our bodies need that reset. They need the sleep. The sleep will help repair our muscles. And as you know, with strength training, that's crucial. You know, we don't grow muscles and all that in the gym. We break down the muscles in the gym. And it's only as we rest, and especially at night in our sleep, that we really get the healing and the repair we need on those so that we can grow bigger muscles. Because when we're in the gym, we're basically breaking down fiber cells. We're breaking down the muscle fibers and creating those microscopic tears. Then when our muscles heal, they are basically building new muscle fibers over the torn ones, which kind of like a scab almost. Think of it that way. And that's what makes the muscle stronger and denser. So we've got to make sure that we're resting properly. You may say, well, I struggle with sleep, or, I don't sleep well, or I don't know that I sleep enough. Well, let me lay out a few things to keep in mind with sleep. First off, you want to be sleeping in 1.5-hour cycles. What I mean by that is our bodies naturally go through sleep cycles, and they last for 90 minutes. So we don't want to wake up in the middle of one of those cycles, because we won't be, I'm not going to say fully rested, but it's going to be weird because we're breaking up that cycle and we're going to be really groggy waking up. So you want to plan to get, I would say, 6 or 7.5 hours of sleep. That way you're still hitting that 1.5-hour cycle. Now, I get it. Life is crazy. I have kids. I work full time. I run Bones to Bulk. And sometimes it's hard, right? How do you make sleeping a priority? You can't really go to bed at midnight and get up at 4 and hit the gym and expect to achieve optimum results. May last for a couple days, but you're really going to get worn out. So you want to make sure that whatever your bedtime is, stick to it. Now, I'm not saying you can never break it, and on the weekend you can't stay up later, but what I am saying is, for the most part, stay consistent with what time you go to bed. Let's say you want to get up at 4 a.m. and you're going to aim for 6 hours of sleep. So that means you need to be asleep at 10 p.m. to get that full 6 hours of sleep. Now, that means you may have to turn off the show you're binging. It may mean you need to, cancel the plans that you had to go out, or whatever it is. You've got to make sleep a priority. And you've also got to give your body and mind a chance to wind down so that you can fall asleep. So don't just at 10 o'clock turn off the TV, go brush your teeth, and jump in bed and expect just to fall asleep, because you're probably going to lay there awake for like 30, 45 minutes while your just whole body calms down. There's lots of things you can implement, you can put in place to kind of calm the body down. I recommend 30 minutes before bed, turning off all screens. That includes cell phones, and I'm guilty of this sometimes myself. But set your alarm and put your phone away 30 minutes before bed. Then grab a book. Maybe you like hot tea. Maybe you just want some water, something that's healthy with no caffeine in it. Just have a cup before bed while you read. It helps calm the mind. There's all these studies that, TV can get us very stimulated, especially if we're watching something that's tense or action-packed or scary. It can affect your adrenaline and all that. And so you really want to make sure that you're giving the body the chance to calm down. You want the room dim lit. You want to create an atmosphere where you can calm down. There's so many sleep aid apps now, or if you have Spotify, or you can play sleep playlists. It's like calming, almost meditative music that will help the mind calm down. There's some great apps that will kind of guide you into sleep by making you think of certain things. So there's a lot of different options if you do struggle with falling asleep. And if you're used to staying up late, then yeah, it's going to be a change for you trying to get to bed earlier. Like, I'm not going to lie and say, oh, it'll be easy. Like with anything, you have to build the habit, but it will get easier and easier. So stick with it. Keep that consistency. Now, on the weekends or on days when, you're not planning on getting up early and you want to stay up later, I get it. So how do you still kind of stay consistent with your plan while doing that? Well, the main thing is still get the same amount of sleep. So in other words, maybe, it's Friday night, you're going to stay up late, you're going to watch a movie, you're going to hang out, and you're up till 1 a.m. That's fine. Just make sure you're getting the same amount of sleep that you got during the week. So, adjust accordingly. If you're trying to get 6 hours, you go to bed at 1 a.m., then get up at 7 a.m. Or maybe you're aiming for 7.5 hours, then you go to bed at 1, get up at 8:30. Still stick to your sleep schedule so your body stays consistent. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard when Monday rolls back around to get back in the saddle, so to speak. And then one last thing I want to mention, you do want to be taking protein before bed. Your muscles do the most repair the first hour and a half or so of your sleep. And so if you go into sleep with no protein on hand, your body doesn't have any amino acids or anything to pull to help heal those muscles. I personally take some protein about 30 minutes before bed. That way it is on hand, it's readily available in my body, and it allows for maximum regeneration and healing of the muscles. So I highly recommend that. You can either take it, personally I mix it in with some yogurt. It's kind of like my bedtime snack. I personally love doing like birthday cake flavor protein in non-fat Greek yogurt. It tastes like some kind of pudding. Like, it's really good. So, you can play around with it and still have something that you enjoy before bed. Or if you just want to mix it in water and down it that way, that's fine too. But just make sure that you have some on hand. And the reason I suggest protein rather than casein is because casein is really slow releasing, so it's not going to be ready for your body to use in that first hour and a half. Now, if you want to do a mixture, that's fine. You can mix some whey protein and casein, but I would not just do casein. You definitely want to have some whey protein on hand, that fast acting for that first hour and a half. All right, I hope this has been beneficial. Please reach out to us on social media. We have a great Facebook group of just an amazing community of people who band together and encourage one another. If you're not following me on Instagram or TikTok or Pinterest or YouTube, youtube.com/bones2bulk, then please go check that stuff out. Follow me, subscribe. I would be greatly appreciative of that. All right, with that being said, remember, no matter what walls you're coming up against, what things you're facing, what obstacles stand in your way from your sleep, you can accomplish your goals. You've got this.